Shalom, shalom, mishpocha. Welcome to another edition of Ray Bash's Ramblings. I'm your host, Rabbi Yehuda ben Shomer, and folks, it's time to come out from underneath the talit. It's time to come out of the prayer closet. All right? It's time to stand up and make ourselves known. You're saying, Rabbi, what's this all about? What's your spiel? You know, I've noticed for a long time that the Torah-obedient Messianic and Netzari movement has been trying very, very hard to placate and cater to the Orthodox Jews. Maybe it's because we have this longing to want to be seen as a legitimate movement within their eyes. But you know what? It's never going to happen. It's not going to happen. You know, it's just like a nerd at school that dresses in, NFL official gear, and tries to hang out with the jocks. You know, they may kind of tolerate him for a little bit and make fun of him behind his back, but he's never going to be a jock. He's never going to be a part of the jocks and the cheerleaders. He's always going to be a nerd. And we're always going to be seen as outsiders to the Orthodox Jews. Why are we trying so hard to please them? Why are we trying so hard to placate to them? You know, it's gotten so bad that, we take on this Orthodox persona and think that we're pulling the wool over the Orthodox eyes. Folks, I'm sorry. I hate to burst your bubble, but you're not fooling anybody. You know, most of these Orthodox and Karaites, they can spot a Messianic or a Netzari a mile away. You know, it's obvious. It's just like that nerd dressing up in basketball, baseball, football stuff and trying to pass himself off as a jock when he's really a nerd. It's not going to happen. You know, it's the same kind of deal. But yet, we sometimes I've seen Messianics dress like the Orthodox. If you know anything about the Orthodox, it's almost like a gang. You know, people just, they find a black long coat, I'm going to buy that. They find a black fedora, I'm going to buy that. I'm going to wear a white shirt and black pants, and I'm going to walk around like an Orthodox. I'm going to wear my talit katan. But you know what? They're going to know that you're faking it. Why? Because certain sects of the Orthodox Jews have certain coats that they wear. They have certain fedoras they wear. The hat band on the fedora is a certain width and the hat's a certain shape. You just can't grab what looks like it and put it on and fool somebody. It's not going to happen. It's not going to work. You know, and I've ran into Messianic and Netzari Jews who say, you know what? You know, there's enough symbolism in the customs and traditions of Judaism that we don't need to talk about Yeshua. We don't really need to point that out or bring that out. You know, why rock the boat? You know, they're gonna discover it soon enough if they read their Siddur and pray from it long enough, and if they search the Torah and read from it long enough. You know, we don't want to push them. We don't want to shove it down their throat. I'm not saying shove anything down anybody's throat. But I'm saying, man, it's time to come out of the prayer closet. That's what a talit is a prayer closet. You know, and just like homosexuals and gays come out of the closet and say, surprise, I'm gay, accept me for who I am. You know, we need to come out of the prayer closet. We need to come out from under the talit and say, look, I'm a believer in the divine Messiah called Yeshua, and not be afraid and not be ashamed. You know, it's almost like we're afraid to be discovered and found out. We're already rejected, so what's the big deal? You know, Yeshua said himself, if you follow me, you will be hated. Not might, not could be. You will be hated. And we are. And he said, if you deny me before men, I will deny you before my Father. Okay, let's take a look at the Passion Week. Let's take a look at what happened with Kepha. Kepha, he's the one who said, Messiah, Yeshua, Rabbi, I'm never going to deny you. You know, I'm even willing to take up a sword and chop somebody's head off. Oops, I missed and chopped a guy's ear off instead. He says, put away your sword. He said, you're a bunch of hot air, Peter. He said, before you know it, you're going to deny me 3 times before this night is over. Oh, never, never. You know, so what happened? You know, I mean, it says that when Yeshua was arrested, everybody fled, but Peter followed afar off. He still wanted to be a Talmud. He still wanted to be a disciple. He still wanted to follow Yeshua, but he didn't want to be connected with him. He didn't want people to see that he was really one of them. So he followed afar off. And just like in the Messianic and Netzari movement, that's what we're doing. We're following Yeshua afar off. Yeah, we believe he's Yeshua. We believe he's Messiah. We believe he's divine, but no, we're not going to say anything when we're around the Orthodox. We're not going to say anything around anybody else. We don't, You know, we're following him afar off. Well, what's the next step in that parade? The next step in that parade is, Yeshua, I never knew him. I never said that Yeshua was Messiah. I don't believe that Yeshua is divine. Oh, that's not going to happen. Really? How come we're losing people left and right to the Karaites and to the Orthodox Jews? Because people are following Yeshua afar off, and they end up getting duped and sucked in to the anti-missionary tactics of the Orthodox and the Karaites. It's going to happen. If you don't stand boldly, if you don't stand for something, you're going to fall for anything. If you don't stand boldly on the word, you don't stand boldly on the fact that Yeshua is the divine Messiah, you don't stand boldly on the apologetics, you're going to fall. You will. It will happen. It will eventually happen. I've seen it. I've seen it over a dozen times. And it's going to happen. Folks, it's time to grow a backbone, and it's time to put Yeshua the Messiah back where he belongs, back in the center. What occupies the center? The Torah occupies the center. Who is Yeshua? He is the living manifestation of the written Torah. He belongs right there in the center with Torah. That's where he belongs, and that's where we need to put him. We need not to be ashamed of the Besorah, of the good news of Yeshua. We need not to be ashamed that he is our Rebbe, that he is our Messiah. You have the Lubavitchers who are bragging and proudly proclaiming, Rabbi Schneerson, you know, he's our Rebbe, and he's also the Messiah. Yet they're accepted by the Orthodox, even though they claim Schneerson's the Messiah. And the Breslov, they proudly proclaim Rabbi Nachman as their Messiah. He's long been dead, and they haven't replaced him yet because nobody can top Rabbi Nachman. We have somebody greater than Schneerson. We have somebody greater than Nachman. We have Yeshua HaMashiach, Yeshua the Messiah. He is our Rebbe. He sets our standards. He sets our halakha based on the Torah. We need to walk in the footsteps of Yeshua our Messiah by walking and following in the Torah. And we need not to be ashamed of Yeshua. He is our Rebbe. We need to brag on him. I'm not saying shove him down people's throats like some Christians and maybe some Messianics do. I'm not trying to say that you need to be a Jews for Jesus. But I'm just saying that, you know what? We need to walk in the footsteps of Yeshua our Messiah by walking and following in the Torah, walking and practicing his halakha, not being ashamed to call ourselves Messianic, not to be ashamed to call ourselves Netzarim, not to be ashamed to proudly say, yeah, Yeshua is my Rebbe. Yeah, Yeshua is my Messiah. He's your Messiah too, whether you believe it or not, whether you accept it or not. Because you know what? No matter how much we try to act like an Orthodox, no matter how much we try to dress like them, talk like them, eat like them, oi gavolt, oi vey, like them, we're not fooling anybody. We're not pulling the wool over anybody's eyes. When we stand before the throne of God, I don't want him to say, why are you trying to be like a Lubavitcher? Why were you trying all your life trying to be like a Breslover? You're Netzarim. I've called you to be my Talmud. I've called you to be a Talmud of Yeshua HaMashiach. How come you weren't doing that? How come you were ashamed of my name? How come you hid the fact, or tried to hide the fact under an Orthodox persona, that you were my follower, you were my believer? I don't want him to say, depart from me, you worker of Torahlessness or iniquity. You deny me before men, I'll deny you before my Father. I never knew you. I don't want him to say that to me. I want him to say, hey, good job, my good and faithful servant. You know what? You were persecuted for righteousness' sake. You were persecuted because you bore my name. You were persecuted because you connected yourself with me. I don't want to be like Kepha and hear the rooster crow, hear the Torah crier crow, hey, it's time to come for prayer, and then go out and weep bitterly because I just realized I denied Messiah. I betrayed him. You know, Kepha's sin and Judas' sin was no different. It was just two different ways to come to the same end. In the end, Judas denied Yeshua, and in the end, Peter denied Yeshua. The only difference is Judas never repented. He went off and killed himself, and Kepha got a second chance. He was able to repent. But I'm not even going to go there. I'm not even going to allow myself to get to that point. You know, it's time that the Netzari movement bring Yeshua back to the center where he belongs as our Rebbe and as our Messiah. And not to deny him, not to follow him afar off like Kepha did, but to walk right behind him in his footsteps. Thank you for watching. Shalom and Shavua Tov.